Well, the President of the United States is doing a road show because apparently they feel in the White House that he needs to connect with the people of America and remind them that he feels their pain. Remember back in the old days when the President of the United States would say, "The buck stops here"? Well, instead of "the buck stops here," the President now blaming boneheads in the government for the scandals, including the IRS and the VA and all that stuff. Here's our President.
Are there some federal workers who do boneheaded things? Absolutely. I remember the first week I was on the job, I talked to my defense secretary, Bob Gates, who's older and had been there a long time. I said, "Do you have any advice for me, Bob?" He says, "One thing you should know, Mr. President, is that at any given moment, on any given day, somebody in the federal government's screwing up."
Yeah, but unlike the president, he got into it, he challenged people, and he fired people. That's what Bob Gates did, and that's what a big CEO does. And with major issues on the docket, the President of the United States made it clear when he went to meet with so-called everyday people in Minnesota that he understands their pain. He feels their pain.
Well, but these scandals, as he said, they're all phony, you know. And look, he says, "I don't even watch the news, but I understand if you're discouraged. You know, I can't even watch it." Listen.
I don't watch TV news generally, or cable shows. But I suspect if you're out here and going to work and picking up your kids and taking them to soccer, or at night sitting there paying the bills, and you just turn on the TV, sometimes it must feel kind of discouraging.
I think the president is talking about watching Fox because the other channels aren't actually covering the scandals. What's curious about what he just said is he doesn't watch the news, and yet if you look back over the last year or so, how many people of the administration, including the president, say, "I didn't know about this problem because I learned about it on the news"?
The Fast and Furious program, when in fact everyone knows, the president did not know about this tactic until he heard about it on through the media.
Let me take the IRS situation first. I first learned about it from the same news reports that I think most people learned about this. I think it was on Friday.
As I said yesterday in my statement, other than press reports, we have no knowledge of any attempt by the Justice Department to seek phone records of the Associated Press.
Do you know when he first knew that there was a problem?
Well, I think it became clear fairly early on, the first couple of days. That
So not before that, though? Not before
No,
October?
Wow. So we did a poll, and we asked you, do you believe the President of the United States learned about the IRS in the news? 73% of Republicans did not believe that. 68% of independents did not believe that. And still 44% of Democrats were out.
No, he didn't know. People in the government are boneheads, and he doesn't watch the news because he understands it could feel discouraging, but he watched the news to get his information. Sounds a little twisted there. How does this sound to you, though? $1 million.
Yeah, good so far.
You could get it.
All right. What do I have to do?
Well, you would just have to find Lois Lerner's lost emails.
Well, you know what? This is a brand new bill that is being proposed by a couple of Texas congressmen, Louis Gohmert and Bill Flores. They also will throw in an extra $500,000 if you have information about
with our money. That's nice of them to put that up.
About the destruction of the email. We want to get to the bottom of it. So that's what, look, we waste plenty of money already. It'd be great to put the money to good use. There's one other component to that, this particular bill, and that is that they would cut the salaries of IRS employees 20% until the email is found. So in other words, you could win $1 million or maybe $1.5 million from your federal government if you've got the email, or if you're working for the federal government at the IRS, you're going to take a 20% income reduction unless you cough up the email.
There's an IT trade association, one of the leading ones in the country, who says they just don't even believe the emails are gone. They don't see proof of it. In fact, they say they know how this works. Here's the quote from the president of this association. "The notion that these emails magically vanish makes no sense. This is not how IT asset management at major businesses or government institution works in this country." So the whole premise of the argument that we've been debating for the past 4 days has not even been proven.
Right. We also also asked you all what you think out there about the $1 million reward incentive for truth here. Bryce in Texas says the $1 million plus reward should come out of the IRS's budget. I'd agree to that. Better to hamstring this rogue agency's funding than further tax the working man.
All right, Jane is a tweeter. Good call. Greed is a powerful enticement.
And Doug says, ask the NSA for their metadata version if they are going to snoop. We're supposed to have collected all that.
Sure.
Correct?
Right. So the point there is, isn't the government supposed to be doing this for us already without cost?
This is a headline grabber, but this is illogical and designed just to get people alerted. But if they're going to take $1 million more tax dollars to give a reward or something, they should be given automatically on something that probably didn't even happen. I think it's a little out to lunch.
You know
the bill is called Identity and Recover Sent Emails, IRS Act.
I bet some patriotic American, though, might donate $1 million.
That would be better.
Exactly the same purpose. The goal is the same. I just feel sorry for the person in the government or the just regular American who actually finds it, because if they win the bounty, do you think they're going to wind up getting audited?
They may be in the middle of that target, for sure, Steve.
All right, coming up straight ahead, the Supreme Court just ruled the president abused his power by going around Congress to make recess appointments. Will this open the floodgates for his other overreaches? Judge Napolitano is here, I could tell.